Hello everyone, welcome to another Battlefield 6 video. Today we are going beyond controls and settings, and we will be looking on how to truly master the heavy vehicles considering the map design. If you mastered the controls already, now it's time to master the battlefield. Map design is not just like the art style, the graphics, the buildings, the set pieces that level designer put into a map for making it look good. But it's also really important, it's vital to set the pace of every match. Like level designers, at least the good ones, also accounts the the pathing, the line of sight. This is since the inception of the Battlefield franchise, by the way. This is not just for BF6, it's always been like this. So level designers take in consideration the pathing and the line of sight also for ground vehicles and as well for air vehicles. Mountains, bridges, open fields, they're not just there to look good, but they are also really important into creating the flow of air gameplay. So that said, it's pretty obvious that if you know the path and all the covers and all the flow of the map, you can react into it, you can learn it, and you can use it in your advantage. The best pilots already know where the next threat will come from, in a general sense, because sometimes like a game like Battlefield is really chaotic, so you cannot always know every move of 32 players that are playing against you. But in general, this is the idea on when you truly master the vehicle and the map and all the mechanics that are into the game, you just go into the flow and you already know the next move of pretty much, let's say, the majority of your enemies, especially the vehicles. Your contribution to the match is not just represented by how many kills you got and what's your KD, but it's how you kept the skies clear and the ground on check, and how well you prevented the enemy to take control of the airspace, obviously, and push into the objectives. By doing that, the kills and the KD would just come like naturally. Considering what I just said, your real score isn't the kill count, but it's how long you keep the sky clean and the ground clean as well. Currently, there are 5 maps where you can fly helicopters in this game, but right now, one of them, which is New Sobek City, the helicopters are not spawning because of a known bug. So in this video, we are briefly taking a look into the 4 maps available, which are Mirak Valley, Liberation Peak, Operation Firestorm, and the Manhattan Bridge one, with an emphasis on attack helicopters. We might do the jet one in a later video. Let me know if you want to see it as well. Let's start with Mirak Valley. This map is the biggest one available in the game right now, and I will compare it to a smaller version of Golmud Railway with some resemblance of Gulf of Oman. I don't know if it makes sense, but the point is you have some areas that are focused on infantry combat, like urban areas with buildings, and also you have two, let's say 3 open fields that are surrounding the whole map. Let me show you briefly what is the main strategy of this map. So if we spawn on the NATO HQ, so we are NATO with Apache, we always want to keep the A flag in our possession, and if we got it, we always want to stay on behind this point on B if we own the flag, even if we don't hold it, but we always want to try to stay behind this building right here. The same applies for the Pax Armata side. We want the E flag always in our control, and we want to fly behind D. Like on the Pax Armata, we want to stay here, but if we own both flags, we can also fly on this position and take a peek into the sides of it, so we can always have cover from the incoming fire coming from the other side of the map. If we own C for each sides, the job gets pretty easy because we can freely roam all around, always try to stay on this portion of the map and always try to stop an incoming jeep's tank and put some fire into the ground vehicles as well. On the NATO side, nothing really changes. If we own both flags, we can fly beyond this and stay here on D, so we can again shoot everything that is coming from their base, and we can also prevent the attack heli to take position on what I said earlier, like here. We don't want the attack heli to be in this position, because then it will be pretty, not random, but it can be pretty annoying. So we always want to try and prevent the attack heli to come into our position. Again, here, if we own the C flag, we can just roam around here and try to be pretty... We can fly high, obviously, but if we're getting locked, here there are a lot of low altitude covers that we can use to break the lock and just retreat in case it's needed. When we are low HP, we don't have any flares, so we can just retreat. For Firestorm, things changes a little bit. This map is a legendary map that has been like present into Battlefield games since Battlefield 3, then we got a remaster in BF4, and the flow has always been pretty the same. Like, even though BF3 and BF4 had some different playstyles, BF3 was more static, BF4 was more faster, so you had the possibility to push even more into the map. But in general, it's the same also on BF6, the main strategy, where depends if you own your gimme flags, you kinda always wanna stay a little bit further on the next available cover after your gimme flags. And if you own B on this map, I think you can still need to be here, because right here there is not really cover, and C is is infested with people that are like climbing the pipes and all the stuff, and it can be pretty random. So we always want to try to navigate in this portion of the map. The same applies for the other side, with a small difference that these are our gimme flags, but this position right here behind the tower on C is very strong. So I wouldn't really bother go to B, because this position right here is more than enough. You have enough range on the whole map. You can do crazy amount of damage to everything that is incoming into this position, like into this space. Like, you have clear sight and cover to attack any target that is basically at this level. So anything that comes out of the base, you have complete range and you can do a lot of damage. Another interesting thing about this map is that both spawns have these mountains right here, which is not showing in this graph, but you know, like everyone knows Firestorm. There are like two mountains that are pretty high. So in the case that you don't have your gimme flags, so you are basically going to get best rate, what you do is that you take position like here. It's not showing, but basically is like this position with the Pax Armata, and here for the NATO side. From this position you have clear sight into your gimme flags, so you can help your team regain them back, destroying tanks and stuff, unless they hide, for example, like in this route right here, where you don't have any angle to hit them. But in general, this is just like general strategy. I always, like since BF3, use this idea and strategy in order to help as much as I can my team. Unfortunately, we don't have TV missiles yet in this game for the attack heli, so your range is kinda limited right now, but the heavy rockets, as I said in my previous video, if you did not watch it, go look for it, are crazy powerful, and the tow is also insanely strong, so you have enough firepower to help your team, even though right now we don't have the TV missile. Liberation Peak is a sort of a weird map, because it's pretty small. Like, if we do not count the Manhattan Bridge map, which is like crazy small for any attack heli, but that's, I will talk about it later. This map is really small and you don't have a lot of cover. Basically, your only cover is this round rock, which I don't know how it's possible that is like existing, and all this side of the mountain, which you can climb, and actually you can have pretty good look to the battlefield from here, on both sides obviously. One thing that the Pax Armata has more than the NATO is this F flag, that you have actually some cover here, but it's also risky because you have to fly pretty low, close to the F flag, and there can be some lurkers that can just RPG you and stuff like that. But the mountain thing also applies for the Pax Armata. You can do the same thing, exactly the same thing as the NATO, and you can fly up here. Same logics apply. You always want to get your gimme flags as much as possible. And C is crazy. You can get so many kills in like 1 or 2 strays that is unbelievable. Like, you always try to want to contest the C flag just by flying like on this position or on this position pretty high, like this, and just rain fire into the flag. And I don't really like this because it's kind of getting annoying for the infantry that are trying to cap this flag, which is really important, and they just get pummeled by rocket pods and attack heli gun, and I think it's a little bit frustrating for them. It's a really small map and everyone is going there, but it's pretty fun for the gunner and the pilot. But for the infantry side, I don't think that's really fair, but it is what it is, right? One important thing that might be pretty useful is right here, if I remember correctly, there's like a mobile AA spawn. AAs are pretty weak in this game, that's why I did not talk about it in the previous maps, but just so you know, there's like a mobile AA spawn here and a stationary AA right here, which are pretty powerful, by the way. The stationary AA are pretty powerful, but we can go in detail about AAs, jets, like how to counter jets in a more in-depth video. Let me know if you are interested to it. So now it comes the weird map, the one that, in my opinion, Attack Heli does not belong into, the Manhattan Bridge. This map, I genuinely do not know what kind of strategy we can use because it's so small. There are so many buildings. Like the sky ceiling is pretty high, so you can fly pretty high above the buildings and just be uncontested, in my opinion, because low sky ceiling of this map literally does not penalize you into forcing flying low and get hit by RPGs. But that's another topic. Also right now, but I think they fixed it yesterday, the NATO, the Apache attack helicopter is not spawning, so you can only play with the Pantera, the Pax Armata 1. And I can just guess, like, I actually played one round earlier when the Apache spawned, but maybe it was a bug into the bug that made it spawn, I don't know. It was pretty easy because, like, I'm an experienced pilot. I just stayed here and trying to time where the heli was spawning and just pew pew, you know, with the tow. But yeah, like on this map, I generally don't know, like, you just do like this. You do like this. You farm here, like here, this is a good farm spot. This is crazy. And you just, yeah, you just do this with Ellie and try to get as many kills as possible. I'm not kidding, like there is no big strategy. Jokes aside, the most important thing that I can tell you is that try to keep the B flag clear for both sides, because this is the one where the infantries can have an angle on you pretty much every time with stingers. And try to remember when the attack heli is spawning, because the moment it spawns it can just roam around and sneak on you, and you don't want that. The time to kill is crazy fast in this game, so just try to be as aware as possible on when the enemy attack heli will spawn. So if you're Pax Armata, you hide here and wait for it, or behind B if you have B. For the NATO side, I haven't played the Apache in this map yet because it's bugged, but I would say, I don't know, you stay behind the bridge. Like, the bridge is here, it's not showing the bridge for some reason, but like this is the bridge. Maybe you want to stay behind the bridge and wait, or you literally go in their base, but it's kind of toxic, and also you can be killed by infantry that are roaming here. I don't know. But actually, maybe here is also pretty good position. You stay behind this building and you have free range on the alley going out. But yeah, one thing that I can suggest you is on this map is, instead of equipping the emergency repair perk for the attack heli, you go for the detection system, which is a perk that I explained in my previous video about the loadouts, where Once you press it, everything that is in front of you is 3D spotted. So you 3D spot pretty much every enemy that is in front of you for 3 or 4 seconds, if I remember correctly. So it's free kills for your gunner. So that's one thing that I can tell you. But this is also considering that the NATO attack heli did not spawn in my whole playtime. So maybe when the attack heli will be available in an enemy team, it's not worth anymore because you can get disabled and you just start to spinning around if you do not use the extinguisher. So right now I can tell you that. I have to do further testings. So what do we take from this video? Aside all the little details that which are not so little, but the general details explained for each map, it's really important, as I said previously, that you need to learn the maps you're playing on. You need to learn the routes, the places where you can break the line of sight for each situation. This will come just with time. The more you play, the more you will realize and learn how to play each map. Like, it's really good to have a general idea on how to move in them, but don't sweat yourself. Like, it's fine, it will require time, but just by knowing like this small like knowledge that you can use for yourself, with time I can guarantee you will be mastering the helicopter pretty easily. Hopefully also the controls will change in the future and they will do some pass into the balance of the helicopters and jets. I mean every vehicle, and it will be a pretty good experience at the end of the day. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more, follow me on Twitch for live streams, and I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye. GG's.